101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have a special guest. She is the author of the book, The Art of Agile Living, no other than Miss Helen Gidley.
Hi, nice to meet you, Daniel, and everyone here on the podcast.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Helen, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. So for me, I guess I've spent my career in the IT world, and I guess I'm an author. I've been a project manager for many years, a programmer, entrepreneur, having started a couple of companies, and um, a passionate devotee of getting work done and helping people get their things done. Being a project manager for many years, that's something that innately you do, that you help people get projects and work done. And having found the agile methods somewhere around 2000, 2003, as I became early exposed to some of these early techniques, I found that they were just the perfect marriage between the traditional project management and more um, agile and adaptive techniques. So that's been my passion since then, and I'm thrilled to share with everyone what I've learned and how I've distilled it into something that people can use on a daily basis.
Miss Helen Gidley, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world.
Thank
How
you.
would you define agile living in one sentence?
Oh, that's a nice challenge. Um, I guess the ability to conquer procrastination with something as simple as a sticky note to help you change your life for the better.
For the better people, so was there a personal turning point that led you to adopt this lifestyle?
So for me, it was working as a project manager. I think I was at the time I was at a large pharmaceutical company, and I was managing a number of projects, and another project manager was hired as well. And the two of us were doing a lot of cross project work, very similar work with similar project teams. And we came from an environment where we were introduced to these agile methods. And the two of us decided to explore it a little bit. We said, we can help each other get our work done a little bit better if we took some of those practices that we had learned that we were using with software teams and apply them to even our project management work and our ability to get things done. And gosh, wouldn't it be great if we could back one another up? So if someone's away for the day or unable to attend a meeting, the other person may be able to help. What a great idea. So we took some of those early practices that were very paper based and very tactile in their use and put it together in a way that we were managing all of our work. And we used 11 by 17 sheets of paper, and we had all of our tasks on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper that are folded that represented units of time. And we would just lay our day out and lay our week out and say, great, now here's a way that we can help manage our work. And it's visible to the two of us. And we'll see how this works for us. And of course, the first time we went through it, it didn't work as well as we thought. We had cases where we way underestimated things, and we just didn't get all the work done that we had hoped. And we had learned from it. We looked back, had a little retrospective and what could have done better. And we realized that what we were missing was the things that we do that are demands on our time, like meetings, things that someone else scheduled for us that we didn't have direct control over. And once we started controlling for the meetings, everything else started to fit in and we could see how things worked for our day. So that was like that first aha moment of this really works for managing our personal work and our personal work at work. And it was like a year or two later that I started exploring, well, if I could do that for my work at work, what about all the things I do at home and my personal activities? Maybe there are volunteer activities and things that I'm involved in. That I'm also trying to juggle project work and personal work. How can I marry the two of them so I'm not looking at two and three different lists of to do items all the time? And those were the seminal moments that this was working for me at work. I can build one for home. Why don't I put them both together? And that was the moment for us. That was the big aha. And that was for my big aha that this really does work. And, honestly, and it's one of the points I mentioned in the book, the days of our working where when you go to work, you just focus on work and that all the tasks you have are strictly work related. And when you're home, the things you focus on are at home. And if you go off to a personal meeting or a user group meeting, you just focus on that. The days of having that separation are long, long gone. Yet we still treat our lives that way. Like this is work, work, and this is home. No, it's all together, right? These are things we need to manage to really lead a successful life that allows us some time to ourselves and to breathe. So once I realized that no, you really have to manage everything in all in one place, that was the big aha moment for creating this method and tweaking it and then sharing it with as many people as I can.
Eureka! Aha! Very well said, Miss Helen. Very well said.
Thank you.
So, why do you think procrastination is such a persistent struggle for so many people?
I'm sure there are lots of reasons why, we feel that we could just never get to the work we're doing, that we just continue to put it off. And I know for me, one of the things that I find, and that is a big my procrastination moment is I might have my to-do list in front of me and I look at a particular item and it might be something small, but I look at it and I go, I just don't feel like doing that right now. And I think that's it for a lot of us, right? You look at
Yes.
that, you've got something, you need to do it, but you just don't feel like it at the moment. And I've learned to work that around, that procrastination bit with two things. I break things down into really small bits of work and I estimate them. I actually allow myself to think about how long would this take me to do on my own, not being interrupted by anything else. How long would it take me to do this piece of work? And once I look at that smaller piece of work and its small estimate, then when I do I just don't feel like it, but I look at it and say, well, that's 10 minutes, that's 15 minutes to get that one little piece done. Next thing you know, I'm actually getting it done. So I think for a lot of us, the procrastination is we have some other concept of how big that piece of work is and how involved it is. And learning to break it down into smaller chunks and provide yourself an estimate that's small, anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. Keep your work small. That will start getting you off or over that procrastination hump and to start actually attacking the work on your that ever never ending to-do list. And once you start doing things and actually getting it done, it's a self satisfying motivation because once you get one thing done, well, then you're ready to do the next. Then you do the next, and you're getting that little emotional boost of, I'm actually getting work done. This feels good. And that's a big, big plus of being able to address that procrastination behavior that we all have and turn it around into something that's more positive.
So, Miss Helen, let's talk about conquering procrastinations. What's one simple habit that readers can implement today to fight procrastination?
Yep. Make your work small. So when you think about, I'll give an example. Being a project manager for many years, there's something that every project manager almost always has to do, whether on a weekly or biweekly basis, is produce a status report. So maybe you too have some kind of report or regular document that you produce, and it's just not your most favorite thing to do. It never was mine, despite being a project manager. And that example was produce the status report. That's my task. Oh, that feels big. I have documents and data that I've got to get. I need to produce a chart. I've got to update some things. I got to get information from other people. And oh, what's the format that people want that in now? And oh, that feels really large. I'm never going to get to that. I don't have the time for that right now. I have a meeting in a half an hour, right? So now you're procrastinating. When I take that example of a status report and I start breaking it down, I say, well, instead of produce the status report, how about produce a draft of it that is just the basics of what the last status report was? And out of that draft, let me identify the things I need information for. That's a much smaller task. The second task would be, all right, out of that information that I need, let's get it from the other people that I need it from. Right? So maybe I'm writing emails, I'm calling people, I'm hitting them on the Slack channel and getting information that I need for my status report. My third task might be to start putting all of that together and creating the status report. And maybe another task is creating and updating charts with all of that information. Each one of those tasks that I created are smaller, and perhaps I can get them done in 30 minutes or 40 minutes or less. That I can fit into my day far easier than that one big, massive produce the status report that I feel like it's going to take me an hour or more to do. So that's the thing you can do right away. And I just gave you an example of how I took something and broke it down into smaller chunks. Each little chunk got me a step closer to getting the work done. And I gave myself an estimate of how long that would take. So if you just start with that, that'll be one of your biggest steps you can take right now to help you conquer procrastination and start to get things done.
So, Miss Helen, is procrastination always bad, or it can be ever serve a purpose?
Oh, I like that question, right? Because I'm goal oriented. I'm the kind of person that likes to get things done. So for me, I my knee jerk reaction is, well, procrastination is bad. You don't like to procrastinate on things. The only time that I find that it could be worthwhile to delay things is when you need time to think about it. So, and for me, instead of procrastinating on that item, I might actually break it down into something that says, do a little research on maybe that topic or so that I need time to think about before I start approaching the actual task itself. So for me, that's kind of how I look at it. It's not really that I'm embracing the procrastination, it's that I'm recognizing that perhaps there's research time, there's think time, there's reflection time that I would put into very specific little tasks and give myself that time to spend on that activity before I really approached it as a final piece of work.
Miss Allen, let's talk about hitting deadlines. What systems or tools do you recommend for consistently hitting deadlines?
And for me, right, those deadlines are that those things that are imposed upon you. And so it's a matter of identifying the work that you need. And I work backwards from that deadline. If my deadline is to work with a group of people, to maybe we're building a website or updating something on a website, what's that deadline? And I work with them to begin to outline the work going backwards. And it's the same activities that I use right now for my procrastination approach, or and my conquer procrastination approach. And that is, let's start taking that work and breaking it down into smaller pieces. and I start to work backwards from that deadline. And my small pieces of work are helping me build what I need at the very end. And that's how I can start to see how long something's going to take. And that allows me to schedule it appropriately, right? Early enough so that I'm not missing the deadline at the end. So for me, again, and this is where everything just ties in of being able to, if I get work smaller and I can estimate it, I can actually get things done. I can fit them into my schedule way better than really big pieces of work that require 2 and 3 hours of dedicated time that so few of us can actually get. So it's those same techniques, small work, break it down, estimate it, and work your way backwards from that deadline and start scheduling it so that you actually can meet that deadline without having to pull all-nighters and miss major events in your life.
What advice would you give to creatives who struggle with structure?
Oh, struggle with building their own structure, you mean, of
Yes.
providing structure. And you're right, because creatives love that ability to just be free and react to things. And a big part of my process is when I schedule things on my my method of scheduling my day, having work in small chunks. One of the things that frees me up to do is actually have free time in my day. And so for creatives, I would ask, and you're going to ask yourselves, when are you most creative? When is the time that you shine? And if you're a morning person and you do your best work early in the morning, so you would like to have your day look like something that allows you that freedom in the morning with a little bit of structure maybe in the afternoon when you're not as creative, and you can then dedicate it to the things that are the gotta do's of your life. And so for me, that would be my suggestion for the creatives. Your benefit is you get that freedom for when you need it by beginning to provide a little bit of structure for yourself around the rest of your day, so that you don't have things nagging at you that I've got to get that report done, or I've got to get this email out to somebody, or I have to do this task that I'm really not that excited about, but I really want to play on my creative time, and I really would like to play with this new design on something. Right? If you have that ability to say, I've got that scheduled, I can forget about it and allow myself the creativity. That's your motivation to allowing yourself a little bit of structure in your day to give you that freedom, both mental and physical freedom to do your creative best.
Thank you for your advice, Miss Helen. And what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Oh, what is my short term and long term goals in writing? Is that your question?
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
I guess my short term goals are to share my current book, as you've been putting up. Thank you for the image, the Art of Agile Living, with as many people as I can to help you conquer the procrastination, hit deadlines, reduce the stress in your life, and just accomplish anything you set your mind to. So for me, the short term goals are to keep working with people like yourself and sharing the knowledge that both myself and my co-author Thomas Malash have landed on and want to impart with everyone as much as we can. And I think my long term might be to look at other opportunities to find ways to enhance this book. I'm hearing things from people who are using it that give me nice ideas of tweaks and modifications that I'd love to share with everybody else. So my long term would be producing a version 2 of the book that has information from people like yourselves on how you're using it and what works best for you, because we can all learn best from one another, right? We don't know everything ourselves. We learn so much best by opening ourselves up to others and hearing what others have to say.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Helen. And let's talk about reducing stress. You tie stress closely to productivity. How do the two influence each other?
Yeah, yeah. So, and You can feel this way yourselves when you're not productive, when you feel like you are constrained or working under deadlines where you're just so um, nervous over what work has to get done. You can just feel that level of stress beginning to build up. And the more stressed you are, honestly, not you're not necessarily performing at your best. You're doing what you certainly get short adrenaline rushes from that stress, and for a little bit you can sustain that, but it's not really long term sustainable, and it starts to drain on you, right? That's where you start to feel the burnout. So your productivity and your stress are directly related, and if you can reduce the stress by actually putting a little structure to your day and providing this ability to get a few things done, you actually increase your productivity. And that's what I find, right? My ability to start getting a few things done, a few things done, a few things done builds on itself, builds my own emotional satisfaction that, oh, I've got something done. I feel good about it. And I'm not stressed over what's left on my list because I was able to prove to myself I can get work done. I can complete something and it makes me feel good. So I have the encouragement that, well, sure, I have this list, but I have confidence I'm going to get through it. So I reduce my stress and I increase my productivity by being able to approach things in a whole different way as I look at my work. So I see those two as you've pointed out, very tightly intertwined. And the key is the more you can reduce your stress, the better you can actually increase your productivity. And and by increasing that, you reduce your stress. So it's a wonderful little cycle that you get to tap into.
Miss Helen, how does your living help build resilience in a chaotic or unpredictable times?
Oh, yes, because isn't everything just so always changing on us, right? This chaotic world.
True.
As I mentioned, you've got things you need to do for your company or for your work. You have personal things that you need to do. You may have other professional things that you're trying to accomplish, and it's just and then you've got the demands of everyday life that you're working through. And there's so much that's just impacting us on a regular daily basis that we really do need a way to manage everything. And while many people will ask me questions like, well, why don't you just put everything here, on that cell phone? And I just have something right here and make it all this wonderful little electronic method. And and this is where there's that old comment, right? The old proverb, I guess, of out of sight is out of mind. And the moment that I take my list and the things that I need to do that I've so diligently worked on and made them small and I've estimated them and I'm planning them out, if they're not right in front of me, if they're on this and this is actually off and put away, it's out of sight. And now when I don't have the focus on what I need to be working on today at this moment and it's out of sight, I can get distracted. The chaos of the world will come in, and that latest ding of some social media will click in, a Slack channel message will come in, I'll get a text message from someone. Something's going to happen somewhere that will distract me. And now I've lost the focus, and I'm now getting sucked in by the chaos of the world and the distractions of the world. So for me, the way of dealing with it is having my to-do list, my planning sheet of what I need to work on in front of me on paper all day long. And there's a lot of rationale of why I go with something as simple as paper and something that I could have in front of me all the time that's portable, that I can move around with me. And all my tasks are on something this small, right? That I can start to just reduce a little bit of chaos in just how I deal with things. And I can go on and on. And my last comment on that is going to be, yeah, I can use electronic tools, and I use them sometimes. But when was the last time that you were going to use some electronic tool for your to do list, and you said, oh, I need to remember to do this, right? I need to, send that email off to the lawyer about this project we're working on. Okay, you get into your list, you open it up. We got a ding over here, and then a page pops up here, and then they ask you to sign in because I lost your sign in credentials. And oh gosh, what was my username and password again? And, or finding the pass key. Is it working? Pop up another screen. Oh, did you notice that this is your birthday? And we would like to congratulate you. It's like, stop. I'm just trying to get into this app. You might be going through 5 or 6 screens of distractions before you get to that app to enter the thing that you wanted to. By the time you get there, chances are you forgot what you were there for. Right? The
Very
complexity,
well
right? It's
said.
that complexity, the chaos around us. Yes.
Very well
And,
said, Miss
and
Helen. Very well said.
And we call that the doorway effect, right? It's like
The
walking through this
doorway.
electronic doorway that has distracted us. So I am paper based, and there's a very strong reason for that. And it's simple. It's
Yes.
simple. And I don't get distracted. I want to put a note in there. I get this out. I get a pen. That's all I need. And it's there.
Yes.
So that's how I'm helping everybody kind of deal with the chaos that's around us.
Simple but easy to do,
Yes.
people. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, Miss Helen, I'm inviting you to please do listen to one of my audiobooks, people. Audiobooks, because I did Book 101 Review, Volume 1, highly recommended. Book 101 Review, Volume 2, selected, and Book 101 Review Volume 3 suggestions. These are the product of my first season of Book 101 Review. And of course, my self-help book, Threads of Existence, Weaving the Tapestry of Life, and Stand Tall, Stand Together, Breaking the Chains of Bullying, and Life is Too Short, a journey of discovery and fulfillment and joy. And my climate change book, Earth Fever, Unraveling Climate and our race to restore balance. Available on Audible and one of the best sellers. So please do listen to them. It's one of a kind. So, Miss Helen, if readers could take away just one core principle from your book, what should it be?
And I think your readers are going to answer that question themselves because I'm going to say it. I've said it a couple of times already, and you're ready. You know what I'm going to say. Keep your work
Yes.
small and estimate it. So that's the core piece for today that will get you starting on your own path for success and learning the art of agile living.
Yes, people. Miss Helen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And we are looking for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book?
Thank you very much. You can find me on Amazon.
Yes, people, I support Miss Helen Gidley because if you support her, as I said, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Helen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. This was delightful, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.